Mount Lebanon. We're going to talk some high school hoops now. Joey David, the head man with a plan, Mount Lebanon, just down the street, getting ready for the Power Bowser Friday night action on Kdka, in which they're going to be taking on Danny Holzer's Upper St. Clair Panthers. He'll be here in a little bit. Now, before we talk high school basketball, we're a couple of gym rats. You, the guy that laced up the sneakers. I've spent most of my life either behind a microphone or watching great basketball. I got to ask you this, Coach, and I'm going to ask Danny the exact same thing. This Luka Doncic trade, and by the way, Jimmy Butler, it is confirmed. Greg Finley and I were just talking. We were talking about that earlier, but I can confirm now that he has been shipped off to Golden State. The next shoe to fall could be Kevin Durant going to Miami because he said he didn't want to be reunited with the folks, meaning Coach Kerr and Steph Curry in Golden State. But are you as amazed as I am? And I love it that this Luka Doncic trade has been the biggest story in sports, and we're just 4 days away from the big game. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like the Wild West anymore with these trades. Nothing really surprises me. I don't know. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, what personalities don't clash, whether owners, coaches, teammates. We don't know that, so I'm imagining a lot of that stuff goes into this. But it's like college basketball now. It's just so hard to follow with guys going everywhere. It kind of makes me lose a little bit of interest.
You know, I heard something today that really made my ears perk up. You know, he's 25 years of age. He's been playing pro basketball since he was 15. He's led in just about every category, and he's been lights out in the postseason, took him to the finals last year. So they talked about his work ethic, being out of shape, like 30 pounds overweight and what have you. You know, Mr. Cuban, still an owner there, but not the main owner anymore. And I think what I heard today made a whole lot of sense. They just didn't want to pay him the bag of money, so they used any excuse possible to get him out of town. But it could really come back to hurt them because if this guy has just anything of talent around him, he's already got LeBron James for maybe 2 more years. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers find their way back to the finals, maybe not this year, but within the next few years. He's that kind of generational talent, Coach.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a heck of a talent. I mean, he does it all. He's just got such a feel for the game. His IQ is through the roof, and he's fun to watch.
All right, let's talk about your team. 14-6 overall, 9-4 in the conference. Handed Amani Christian its first Class 6A Section 2 loss since mid-January. Blue Devils took down the Saints 73-61. Mount Lebanon pulled away in the third quarter, outscoring Amani Christian 25-12. Liam Shealy and Sam Dybert tied the lead as far as scoring with 19 points each. So that is a satisfying win, is it not, Coach?
Yeah, I think it was a great win for us last night, and we kind of struggled. Liam was out he missed half the game, so he broke his hand 2 days before our first game of the year. So he was out for the most part the first round of the section where we went 3-4, and then now he's back, and now we're 6-0 in the second part. So we're kind of falling into a nice spot right now. We're playing pretty well, and we look forward to the games that are coming up.
All right, so this RJ Sledge had 26 for them. How good is that kid?
He's good, man. He's quick. He can shoot it. He has a nice pull-up, good feel for the game. He works his tail off on defense, and he's a nice player, very nice player.
So you got this game against the legend, and I love him. I've known him a long time, Danny Holzer. Tyler Robbins, one of his players, signed with Miami of Ohio. Tell me about what they bring to the table.
Well, obviously, I mean they got a high school team bigger than some college teams, So they're big, they're strong. They have shooters from the outside, ball handlers. They're a very good basketball team. So we're gonna have to play very, very well to beat them. We played them the first time, and it was relatively close at times, but we didn't. We were kind of a different team at that time, and Liam was just getting back. But it's going to be a good game. I think that. They could beat us badly. We could beat them. It's going to be an interesting game. It always is when you bring Mount Lebanon and Upper St. Clair together.
Yeah, it's a big-time matchup for sure. Great rivalry. Now that I took care of all of that, let me have some fun. Every once in a while they throw me a couple of softballs so I can enjoy myself after a long day. You've been doing this a long time, Coach. And look, 20 years on television, 20 years doing play-by-play, so I know who you are. Just tell the folks a little bit about your basketball background and how this journey through the hardwood has been such a big part of your life. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, this game's given me everything in my life. So, I love the game, and I want to give back to the game. I played at. I moved to Terre Haute, Indiana. I kind of fell in love with basketball there. I rebounded for Bird at the boys' club in the summertime. Moved back to Upper St. Clair. My father was an Orthodox priest. The church's home was in Upper St. Clair. Ended up going to Pitt. Had a nice career at Pitt. Had chances to play in the CBA and overseas, but turned that down to stay in school and get my physical therapy degree. And I have a nice physical therapy business, but I started getting involved with coaching about 25 years ago. The AD asked me, to coach the team. I told him I'd give him 2 years, and here I am 25 years later. So I love it. I'm involved now with a pro team in Italy, Pistoia, where I'm an owner of that team, and I enjoy the professional league over there. It's a lot of fun. It's just a great game. I can't repay the game for all it's given me, and that's kind of what it's all about. And it's all about really just the players and the kids, and watching these young men, grow up and turn into men, and seeing some of these guys that we coached 23, 24 years ago with their own kids, and it's just very rewarding.
Oh, you really piqued my interest. We got to get to the Bird thing in a moment, but I want to talk about Italy.
Yeah.
Dante Calabria, a good friend, obviously spent time over there, had a successful career, is back there doing some things now. Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant, learned to speak fluent Italian. His dad played over there in Europe. You see the European game, we mentioned Doncic, big part of the game now. Europe has become as big as ever in the NBA. Why do you think those players seem to come here and it works for them?
Well, they're skilled. Kobe his dad played, Jelly Bean played at Pistoia, the team that I'm involved with. And so we have a chair there for Kobe, in memory of him. And that's where Kobe grew up. The passion of the people there in that town is unreal. The European basketball model is they play one game every week. They practice twice a day. So they get a lot of fundamental work in, and, they get a lot of shooting in. They work very hard. They get them at a young age, and they get better and better. And, I think that, obviously you look for the NBA right now. There's so many players that have played overseas. It's incredible. My assistant coach, Milan Siminovic, was a Serbian guy, worked over there. He tells me the story about going over, and a guy asked him to go watch Doncic, go watch him play. And he's like, I don't want to drive 2 hours to watch this kid play. So he did. And they came out for warm up, and he sees this big kid come out, and he's like, wow, my interest has peaked. And his buddy said, no, not that kid. It's the fat kid right behind him. and he played a heck of a game. And, so he's been involved in Serbian basketball for a long time. If you want to see something crazy, Google Serbian basketball and watch these crowds at a Serbian basketball game. It's unreal. And the crowds at our games in Pistoia, these guys, they chant. They don't stop chanting the entire game. And it's crazy, the passion they have for basketball. So when you have that and you're a young kid and you're growing up, what do you want to do? You want to play for your team. You want to play basketball. And I think that goes a long way.
Okay, I got to ask you about Bird. Listen, if Luka could even get half the work ethic that Bird had, running the bleachers at the old Boston Garden and shooting 3 hours before every game, just think what he could do. But Larry Bird willed himself to be a great player. So you witnessed it even at a young age. I've never had a chance to see him play in person, but I grew up loving him, obviously. And he was an excellent coach at Indiana, too. People seem to forget that.
Yep.
What made him so good, do you think?
Yeah, just the work ethic, and I think he was never afraid. I think I got good because I watched him work out. Everybody thinks they're a hard worker until they see somebody work hard. And when I was in the 7th and 8th grade, in the summertime, I go to the boys' club. They'd ask me to come rebound for him. No one knew who he was. He was just some guy at Indiana State, and I rebound 600, 700, 500, 300, 400. So when I wanted to be good, I had to shoot that many myself. But Johnny Dawkins tells a story. He was in NBA for how many years, and every time he went to a gym, Bird was there. And he said he was, I think, his 7th year or 6th year. He said, you know what, this one time he's not beating me to the gym. He went to the Boston Garden like at 5 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. He took a taxi over. Nobody's there. He's out there shooting. They're setting up the gym and the chairs and things. And a custodian said something to him like, what are you doing here so early? He said, hey, one time I wanted to beat Larry just once. I wanted to beat Larry to the gym, and the guy looked up and pointed up in the Boston Garden steps. He said, "You're too late." Bird was running the steps and running circles around the top of the Boston Garden.
I love it, Coach.
Yeah, great work ethic.
Listen, I love your swag. I love who you are. I love your passion, and I know you're excited about how your team is playing. Really looking forward to the broadcast on Friday night. Power of Bowser, Upper St. Clair, Mount Lebanon, the Blue Devils head man, Joey David on KDK. Joey, thanks very much. Okay.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Take care.
All right, good story. I'm telling you, there's something going on in the NBA. I don't know if it's Greg Finley producing, but I have just been smitten by it. I'm loving it. And this Anthony Edwards kid, come on now, the player of any generation. Just to think he and Luka are going to be going head to head for years to come, may just be worth sticking around a little bit longer to watch that thing unfold. We'll come back. Danny Holzer at the bottom of the hour. That's next on KDKA.